Thank you, Councilman. I'll try to keep it brief, although we have a lot going on today. I also have some hard copies of the presentation with me, if anyone in the audience would like to review. So early this year, I presented to this council on the visions and goals of 2015. They focus mostly on marketing and business development. What you see on this slide is what was presented in regard to marketing to this council early this year. As you can see, it focused on selling our community and increasing our external presence while coordinating with our partners. Now, some of the successes in this area this year, one of the biggest marketing pieces was in regard to the 10th anniversary of Hurricane Katrina. We collaborated with GNO Inc. and the City of New Orleans to create an official K-10, as we called it, resiliency flyer that was distributed to national and international media, both online and available in print at the Sheraton in downtown New Orleans at the Media Center. As you can see on the next slide, it's a very nice collateral document here, still available online, highlights a lot of the positives in this community. Also on K-10, we partnered with nearly everyone in this parish, government and community organizations on the St. Bernard Katrina 10 initiative. This was more locally focused, celebrated St. Bernard's resiliency in the entire week leading up to the anniversary. Lastly, we also took advantage of the media attention by my chairman, Joseph Tafada, and I appearing on WWL TV, also penning a letter to the editor of the Times-Picayune in response to some negative articles they posted in regard to Katrina and St. Bernard. And lastly, providing a familiarization tour for NPR's Morning Edition. We've also began a rebrand effort for our organization. We feel that this organization, along with the parish, has reached a tipping point. We're proud of the progress we've made in such a short period of time, which I'll highlight in our business development section, and feel that a new look and logo will coincide with this forward momentum and increase our marketability and brand awareness across the region. And lastly, I talked about the need to increase our web presence earlier this year. We've done that. We've launched social media feeds on LinkedIn, Twitter, and Facebook that are updated regularly. It's where I think most of the community finds out what's happening in this parish with economic development. And we also regularly update our website, sbedf.org, with fresh content and social media integration. As you can see, that has worked for traffic count on our website. This is a chart that graphs from January to September this year. You know, the more eyes on our website, the more positive news people see about our parish. We've also launched two pretty major advertisement campaigns. The first was in the Parade of Homes publication, not a traditional advertising push for an economic development organization, but we seriously feel the need that home builders and new families in this parish are paramount to success. So this event was an open house style event across the entire metropolitan area, targeted home builders, families looking to move or build new homes, and potential home buyers in that mix. We blitzed this advertisement on multiple platforms. The print magazine you see in front of you, also on the web and social media. It was by far the most successful social media campaign we've had this year. We were getting likes and shares from people that would never see an economic development website. We're talking about designers, interior decorators, families. So I think it's got a lot of eyes on St. Bernard that would not have seen it otherwise. The second advertisement campaign was very different than the Parade of Homes. It was in the Southern Louisiana Economic Development Guide, a new publication put out by Site Selection Magazine. Site Selection Magazine is really the industry standard, and for those that don't know, site selectors are the businesses, the organizations, the individuals that select where major projects nationally, even internationally, land. So when you see an announcement of a 600 job project, it goes through a site selector. So you'll see here on the right side of the screen, that's the actual print advertisement we published, but there's also a unique URL website for this content, similar to a NOLA.com style presentation, and you see there are banner ads and square ads that appear on that site as well. The audience will be very large for this. The magazine will be distributed to 5,000 site selectors. but we'll also be in front of the 90,000 visitors per month that visit Site Selection's website. And I talked about coordination and collaboration. This was an effort we worked on with the St. Bernard Tourism Commission. Lastly, increasing external presence under marketing. Startup St. Bernard was a huge step this year, entering that entrepreneurial ecosystem that's so strong in the metro area. In 2015, we had over 200 in attendance, a regional audience, large visibility thanks to the collaboration with Idea Village. In 2016, the Economic Development Foundation will be taking on a larger role, and we're already in the planning progress on that initiative. I also attended the Super Region Canvas. This is an event to learn best practices in the Phoenix and Tucson region, but perhaps equally as important, an opportunity to tell the St. Bernard story to business leaders from New Orleans, Baton Rouge, Lafayette, everywhere in between. We were extremely fortunate to have a large St. Bernard contingency there. We had, in addition to myself, Councilman Loga, Councilman Honeycutt, and McGinnis, as well as our ex officio, Walter Leger, in attendance. I've also continued my involvement with the International Economic Development Council. This is, the industry standard for economic developers. I'm on pace to become a certified economic developer in the next 2 years. I'm also serving on the host committee. In January, leadership from international economic development related organizations will all descend upon New Orleans in January. I'm part of the team helping to plan that event. Lastly, I talked about the importance of just trying to tell the St. Bernard story is everywhere. That includes events and conferences. Some of the highlights was Rev America this year, the only conference focusing on onshoring of IT services and call centers in the United States. South by Southwest V2V, conference that strictly targets high-growth startups that could potentially expand or relocate to our area, and a plethora of local events such as NOLA Tech Week. The second piece that I presented to you in, I believe, March was business development. Here's what I presented, focused on BRE visits, business retention expansion visits, confidential meetings with the local business community, as well as kind of just beefing up our attraction and retention efforts, building a solid pipeline that can carry us for years to come. This year, the BRE visits have been a tremendous success. We've coordinated with LED and GNO Inc. on these, and we've learned, trends, both positive and negative, as well as expansion opportunities for local businesses that we would have never unearthed if not for these meetings. Also, probably deserving of its own slide is the Working on the Water initiative that we're carrying forward. Thanks to a partnership with the RPC and the EDA, we've expanded the scope of this project, expanded the funding available for this project. We've held 3 workshops this year, with 1 more coming in November. Instead of the lecture style that you're receiving right now, and also was what the WOW Summit one was based around, these are more hands-on workshops, sitting down one-on-one, discussing specific issues. We focus on grant opportunities, marketing, business development, and later this year, laws and regulations. We're going to finish it up with a second WOW Summit in March 2016. Hopefully we continue to partner with organizations like RPC to move this project forward. This is the slide that gets most people excited. These are business development wins so far this year. And to be absolutely clear, I'm not just naming businesses that open up. These are projects that we were directly involved in. Bayou Urgent Care was $1 million investment, 6 jobs off the bat, room to grow a few months ago. Not only is this jobs and an investment, but also a quality of life improvement with healthcare in the parish. Not too shortly after, Old Airby Marketplace opened up. Again, jobs, investment in a previously blighted property, but we feel this is a key piece to a bigger puzzle of the Old Airby Cultural Arts District that we're working to build. Probably the highest profile win so far was Ship Tech Services. We just announced this last week. 30 jobs within a year, and it's a high growth company. Just to give you an idea of the growth potential, the founder of this company created an extremely similar concept in the 90s. He grew it to 250 employees before selling it to a venture capital firm. So we're excited about the 30 jobs, but more excited about the potential of being a economic driver for years to come. And lastly, this is not quite a done deal yet, but PBF Energy, this is the company looking to acquire Chalmette Refinery from ExxonMobil. We've served, I like to say, as a complete business expansion concierge for these guys. Any question, any concern they have, we're the go-to source. We've heard nothing but positive feedback. The biggest coup so far with this company is the location of their IT offices in St. Bernard. They were literally minutes away from signing a lease in downtown New Orleans to set up this IT center. We said, pump the brakes, let's see if we can find something in St. Bernard that maybe a real estate agent couldn't identify. The next day, agreement was in place to open in St. Bernard. And the real key here is not only is it jobs and IT work being done in St. Bernard, they have outfitted a space in St. Bernard that a publicly traded IT team is working out of. So once they vacate this space, move into the refinery, St. Bernard will suddenly have a new office space that was used by a publicly traded IT team that we didn't have before. So we're excited about the prospects of growing that space. Some other trackers through mid-October. We have, 4, including PBF, 4 A projects, which I categorize as, 75% chance or better of happening in the next 6 to 8 months, as well as numerous B projects. If you remember, the last time I spoke here, I told you the very most important thing to growing economic development in this parish, especially big projects in the manufacturing realm, was building up the Entergy LED site database, which can be found on our website, as well as G&O Inc.'s, LEDs, Entergy's. It goes on and on. This is what everyone uses nationally when trying to find expansion locations. I'm extremely proud to say we've added 13 sites to this database in just this year. And that leads directly into the RFI category on the tracking progress chart. These are requests for informations, usually coming from site selectors or the state for major projects, game-changing projects that we cannot respond to unless we build up that site database. Thanks to those 13 sites, we responded to nearly all of those 42, including several projects that would seriously change this parish economic outlook in the future were we to win these. This is the big leagues, I like to say, of economic development. We're competing against the nation and sometimes internationally for some of these major projects, but we're finally in the game thanks to the sites added on the database. And lastly, I just want to say, we do receive public dollars, and we can't do what we do without them, and we're incredibly grateful. But to really build out a successful economic development organization, or one that we view as ultimately successful, we have to leverage those public dollars by going after private investors. I almost feel it's irresponsible not to do so. And we've done that this year. We've begun a fundraising effort with private investors, and you'll see here we've brought on the Mira Foundation and the St. Bernard Port at the highest level, the champion level, as well as the law office of Sidney Torres and Associated Terminals at the pillars level. The goal is to continue this effort to make the public dollars go farther. With that, I'd be happy to take any questions.
Anyone in the queue? Mr. McGinnis.
Mr. Jacques, I appreciate you coming today. Your work in our parish has really benefited our citizens. And I just wanted to thank you for the work you're doing for our businesses that are already here in St. Bernard Parish. I spoke with the gentleman. He speaks nothing but high praise for you, and I don't want to mention his name, but he's got a piece of property here in St. Bernard Parish, and obviously it went on a list, hadn't gotten a call in years, and has gotten many lately. And he credited you with all of that, with that progress, and he feels confident now that his property will be in commerce soon here in St. Bernard Parish. So it was a good decision when we selected you, and keep up the good work, and I hope you're here for a long time.
Thank you.
Mr. Honeycutt.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I'm sure you can see it, the smiling faces on all of us up here. This has been, this council, when we came in office 4 years ago, economic development was in distress. And we all up here banded together, as well as the administration, and hunkered down, and, we all keep saying it was a social club. It was a social club. And so we all decided that we were going to hunker down 4 years ago, and we rocked the boat, and we pulled the funding. We had a few people quit from being on the board of directors. We got some new leadership in there. We got a new chairman, and then we reorganized. And we went through a little period of turmoil, but it all came together when it all culminated whenever they hired you. So this has been 4 years of work, and I've said this to you before. We're so grateful that you decided to apply and come down here to St. Bernard and help us out and get this moving forward, and I guess get this thing unstuck from 4 years ago, from where we've been trying to fight, scratching and clawing to get it where it is today. So definitely proud to see the impact that you've made in the short time that you've been here.
Thanks. I really appreciate that. And again, it's not possible without the support of the council, so thank you.
No one else in the queue? Thank you, sir.
Appreciate it.